You are now rocking with the Patio PolitiCz.
You are now rocking, and if you ain't rocking, why are you stopping? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and shift to the left, shift to the right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever in the world you may be. You may be right here on the West Coast with your boy. You may be on the East Coast, down south, up north, in between the scene in the Midwest, or a whole nother country, because we know the sound travels, we know the visuals go far, and we appreciate y'all being right here on the patio so far. It beats the value that allows you the opportunity to roll with me, King Mac Millie. I'm in the driver's seat all by my lonesome, but in the passenger seat with me is a talented individual, you know what I'm saying? A funny guy. I always enjoy his energy and his time whenever we are around each other. An actor, a writer, an athlete. Man, if you ask me, this is just a divine gift. A divine gift. Y'all hold on to the topic of the show. We got to play this theme and we'll be back. You already know.
We hope you stay a while, cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. Cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like, yeah. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. I said it's right for life. Come in with the shows that you like. We trying to be the best on the mic. DJ playing cuts that you like, yeah. It could be the start of your day, or maybe just the end of your night. But if you're rocking with us, Patio PolitiCz is gonna do you right. Oh, cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life, yeah. We got whatever you like. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. Cause it's right for life. Trying to be part of your life. We got whatever you like. Come on and just give us a try, yeah. We hope you stay a while.
Yes, hope you stay a while. You already know how I go. If you don't stay, shame on you on your way out the door into the car and wherever else you go. But for all the rest of y'all that done stayed here with me, appreciate ya. Without further ado, actor, writer, athlete, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the patio, Gifford Irvine.
Appreciate the invite. Glad I'm here.
Hello, sir.
How are you, bro?
How's it going? I am well. How are you?
No complaints, man.
No complaints.
Busy, but busy's good.
Busy is always good.
Absolutely.
You can never not want to be busy. I mean, if there's ever a time where you're not busy, you're always looking for something to do. Ain't that right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever really knows how to just relax and chill, or at least I don't. So let me not speak for everybody else. I believe that I am in good company. I believe that you are in good company, and I believe that in between this good company, we're about to have a great conversation. What do you believe?
I believe that.
You believe that?
I concur.
Oh, I concur. I rock with that. Gift. We got a series of questions that we like to ask our gifts, you know what I'm saying, just to get it open and get the brain stimulated and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying. Some people say they the heavy punches right out the corner, you know.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, 3 P's.
Because if I could take the best, you got nothing else to offer.
Oh, well, don't be so sure of that. P's, 3 P's. Your purpose in life, your pleasure in life, and your passion in life.
Ooh.
In any order that it comes to.
My purpose in life, to leave the world better than I found it. By being a positive influence on the people that I come into contact with throughout my life. The opportunity to give back, because I've been able and very fortunate to accomplish and achieve so many things in my life. Personally, athletically, family, you know, which is also my next step in my process is to hopefully find a good woman, settle down, get married, have a family. Yeah. You know, that's ultimately where I'd like to get to. But yeah, my purpose, if in summation, is just to leave the world better than I found it and to have a positive impact on the people that I come into contact with. What was the second P?
Passion.
Oof. Whatever my heart tells me. Whatever my heart tells me. You know, I'm not a politically correct individual. I never have been. I keep it real. I tell people what I feel, not necessarily what I think. And I believe in the world we live in right now, people get confused about that because a lot of people have the mindset that if they think something, it's the truth.
Yeah.
And it may be their truth, but it's not the universal truth.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a difference there. I'm passionate about elevating my life and elevating the people around me, which goes in
Both ways, yeah.
with my purpose. You know, passionate about acting. I'm passionate about writing. Passionate about sports. I love football. That's, you know, football is probably my first love because I was able to do so much with it for so long in my life. But I'd put acting and entertainment right there on par with it. So it's like kind of like 1 and 1A.
Okay.
And football's in my blood. You know, my dad played semi-pro football. Probably could have played professionally. Chose to get married to my mom. Turned down a scholarship offer to go play at Cal Berkeley.
Okay.
And as it turns out, when he would have been at Berkeley, they would have played in a Rose Bowl. I think his freshman year. I can't remember specific dates. So that was something that he missed out on. And I was able to play in 2 Rose Bowls. You know, I walked on at UCLA. I played football. I lettered 3 years. And I got to participate in 2 Rose Bowls. So one of the gifts I gave to my dad was one of my watches. And it was a gift that the bowls give to college athletes.
Got you.
Or football players specifically. At least back then. I don't know what it is today.
What they do now, yeah. could be something much better.
Might be a car today, you know?
Back in the day, that watch meant a whole lot.
Exactly. So I gave it to my dad on Christmas morning. And it was after I was getting ready to play in my second Rose Bowl. I said, let me give this to Dad.
Did he know exactly what it was?
He didn't know it until he opened it.
Got you.
And he had a visceral emotional response. And he went off by himself. My dad wasn't I'm going to demonstrate and show you what my emotions are.
Yeah.
So he kind of kept things to himself. But my sister-in-law had told me that he went off and cried.
Yeah.
And that was touching to me, you know, that I was able to fulfill some of my dad's goals and live them for him.
Yeah, while living yours at the same time.
Exactly. Because as a kid, I grew up, it's like, I want to play football at UCLA, you know, and I'm not a big guy. You know, I think I was 5'6.5", 153. Was my pro day stats.
Okay.
And I grew a little bit after college, you know, like another 1.5 inches, so I'm like 5'8" today. You know, if I let my hair grow, I can say I'm 5'11". My shit grows out.
The inches count. Every inch counts. I'm taller by the day, by the moment.
By the hair.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I'm passionate about football. I'm passionate about acting and entertainment in general because I love storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that's an art form that seems to be lost a little bit in today's,
I would say so,
creative world
across the board.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not going to mention any movies specifically because I might work with these people someday. But there are movies that I've seen recently, and I'm like, wait, you guys put how much money into this?
Yeah,
and it's his booty.
Yeah,
you know,
ass,
I'm like,
straight ass.
I can't deal with this shit. Are you kidding me? You know, so, and I got a few friends that are within the system, and one specifically who is a writer producer, and he's been instrumental in helping me. You know, because like everyone else, I had my own insecurities coming up, and he's like, no, you got the talent. He said, you need to understand the tools, and there's a specific way to do all this.
Yeah.
And he helped me with a lot of that. And he's like a brother to me today. You know, so that's where my passions are. Family also. Passionate about my family. I'll talk all sorts of shit about them, but you can't. That's kind of where the line
is. Don't cross this line.
Exactly. You know,
it's like you can and watch your temperaments on your laughs to my jokes. You can laugh, but not that hard. You know. Okay, so we got the passion, we got the pleasure, we got the passion with the purpose, pleasures in life.
Oh man. Oof. Seeing people smile.
I had to hide my smile real quick. Kind of caught me off guard.
Seeing people smile, you know, it's been a while since I've been in a what I would call a relationship. But I remember when I was with one specific woman in particular, and I used to tell her, and it's a line from a Tyler Perry movie, and the title always escapes me, but it's Shamar Moore, and I think it was his first like big major hit.
I Can Do Bad or Diary of a Mad
Black Woman. So Shamar's talking to his gal, and he said, "When you smile, I know my world is right." And I carried that with me because I think that was actually one of the first films that I saw with this woman. And I was like, let's go see this. I want to see what Tyler Perry's doing because of his backstory.
Yeah.
You know, he had been living in a car and like didn't know what was going on, but he stuck with his plan.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I think a lot of people, specifically in this industry, fall short on. They give up. And brother was living in a car, man. Probably didn't know where his next meal was coming from, let alone his next shower.
Yeah.
But he found a way to persevere and get through it and overcome it. So I was a fan. We went to this movie, and that line it resonated with me so deep on such a just like a spiritual level. And I can remember talking to her one night. We were laying in bed together when we were together, and I just said, you know, I looked at her and I said, I love you. And she smiled, and I smiled back, and there was nothing said for like 2 minutes.
Oh, there was so much said.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Without saying anything.
Yeah.
And she finally said, what? And I said, I know my world is right. And she looked, and her smile got bigger.
Butter.
Exactly. She was like, that was the line from the movie, though. You know? I said,
but it resonates.
Exactly. It's appropriate.
And now it's a memory. It's a moment. It means so much more to the both of us now.
Exactly. You know, so, you know, I'm passionate about making people smile. I'm passionate about making people feel good, you know, and I also get pleasure in that. When I see, because I coach as well, I volunteer my time as a coach. When I see these youngsters that I get to work with achieve their goals and see how happy they become, you know, I get satisfaction in that as well, because I help them take a step in a lot of cases where they didn't believe they could take that.
Such a good feeling too.
Oh man!
And we gonna get into it because I've experienced a little bit of that coaching when it comes to football and the young minds, things of that nature. It's such a good experience.
Oh man, there are few things in the world like that having a positive impact on, especially a youngster's life, because they've got their life in front of them, you know, and a lot of us are entering the middle phase, or in some cases the back end of it. I mean, I'm still just starting. So
Yeah. We still in the infancy stages around here, getting it cooked up, getting it going and rolling. But yes, sir, y'all already know how it goes down around here. It comes around that time to where we got to get up out of here, you know what I'm saying, show you some things otherwise than what's going on right back here. Then we're going to get right back here. You know how it goes down on Patio Politics. We'll be right back.
You are now rocking with the Patio PolitiCz.
One of these days, y'all gonna rock with me if you ain't already rocking with me. You feel me? Oh, we was really getting into them P's. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty more other things, a plethora of things. Now I just got P words coming out. But pleasure. We was talking about that before we went to the commercial break. Was there anything that you wanted to add on to?
Yeah, food. I get pleasure from food. Man. Yeah.
The good eateries.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of them.
What we eating?
It depends.
Okay.
I saw a Cajun joint across the street that might have my name written on it.
Oh, it's brand new too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I might peep them out.
Yeah. I wish they would have came about maybe a year and a half ago or something. I would have been able to test it out right along with you, but I'm on a different journey now. So looks good though. Looks good. I'll
let you know.
Yeah.
If I end up going.
Okay.
I
got a feeling you might. You might go back outside and just be like, they might crab at you. Like,
right? It's like, it's calling me. It's calling me.
Pull you back in.
But pleasure, yeah. Seeing people smile, food, my mom's tacos. For the people that have experienced that, that's.
Now, are we talking tacos?
We talking tacos.
Okay, so no cheese.
Oh, no. She puts cheese on the tacos.
Okay, so we talking tacos.
Tacos.
Okay, because it's two different tacos to have with the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Some folks is just like you got the authentic, and then you put cheese on your tacos.
Oh, yeah.
I guess.
No. It's a meal. A taco made by my mother is a meal. It's like having a foodgasm. It really is, because she uses the ground sirloin. There's a certain way she seasons the meat. Then she fries the shells herself. So she don't get the
fresh out the packs. Like, nah,
It's like let's make the tortillas, let's roll them out, and let's fry them. And if she doesn't have time to make the tortillas, and we'll go buy a pack. And we'll still fry them. And then we let them dry. Then we put the meat, then the cheese, then the lettuce, then the chopped tomatoes. Then a little guacamole, homemade.
Yeah. Little guac on top.
And that's what sets it
No
apart.
sour cream, no ketchup.
No sour ketchup on
I mean,
taco?
Hey.
I got you to each his own. To each his own. I ain't never heard no shit like that, but to each his own.
Cheese, meat, ketchup. Let's do this. A little bit of grease, extra grease with the
That sounds like a burger to me, man.
Hey, taco. Taco is a taco. We done made it happen a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to act. There's different tacos out here in the world. You know what I'm saying? You just got to experience. That's all.
I'm going to give you that.
Yeah. When I went to Ensenada, I had tacos that I ain't never had in my life. You know what I'm saying? Some of them had French fries on it. Some of them had some things that I wouldn't have had if I was on American soil. It's just interesting. So a taco's a taco, you know?
Wow, French fries on a taco.
Yeah.
So don't know that I'll ever go there, but
I've done some wild things in my eatery life. But going back to the children and mixing that with athletics, like we spoke on before the commercial break, flag football?
No, tackle football.
Tackle football. So you on the level of like, I get to talk to you like I'm your dad and your uncle and your big brother, and really because I had the little baby, so it's just like, hey, can we maybe do it this way, or if you run fast, that you ain't doing none of that. You like really grilling and getting into it.
Yeah. Now I did start off. My brother and I started off coaching flag football. That was a long time ago. I'm not even gonna mention the years. And then we kind of transitioned into Pop Warner.
Pop.
And then we stopped for a few years, and he got involved in high school coaching as about the same time I did. And I ended up coaching with a buddy of mine who just kind of called me up and said, hey, man, I just got the head coaching job. I want you to come work with me. I said, dude, I'd love to.
Yeah.
So that kind of reintroduced me to football. And for a long time, I didn't want to be around it. And
is that because you couldn't play anymore, or?
I think that was part of it.
Okay.
And learning how to let go of something that had been such a central focal point of my life. I grew up playing football. I got to play through college. So I was always working towards something. And now it's like, for whatever reason, I was no longer doing that. So it changes your focus, and you have to find what you're passionate about in another way, whatever that end goal is. you know, and I'm sure if you brought a bunch of professional athletes in here, they would probably say the same thing. Once they stop playing, excuse me, there is a period of time that's a transition. Like I couldn't watch football for, I think, 2 or 3 years. I couldn't watch it. And I was still interested in what my former teammates were doing because, you know.
Obviously, there's a bond there.
Yeah. And I want them to do well. But going back to the stadium, some days it was really hard. It just like, I should be down there with them.
Yeah.
You know, I should be out there competing. And it's like, no, my time is done. And looking back, I'm grateful for that time.
It's like on the outside looking in, it makes you almost want to transition to that other side. Like, I can't play anymore, so what else can I do type thing.
Exactly.
Instead of just the opposite of, well, I don't want nothing to do with the sport since I can't play anymore.
Yeah. And I had that feeling initially.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want nothing to do with this because it hurt not to be able to play.
Yeah.
You know, there was for me, there was a pain involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to some of my teammates, you know, as a lot of the guys got to play on Sundays. And I would ask them, it's like, hey, when you retired, did you have this? He's like, yeah, there was like a void there, and trying to figure out how to fill it.
Yeah.
You know, as a friend of mine said to me many years ago about football, it's a violent sport played by passionate men. So now where do I take that passion and redirect it?
Yeah.
You know, and fortunately I was able to figure it out pretty quickly for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up working as a private trainer as I took up acting, you know, and one kind of lent itself to the other.
As they usually do. Arts tend to work within each other.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, slot receiver.
In college I played where they needed me. And then on Saturdays I returned kicks.
Got you.
You know, so, you know, people said, really? I was like, yeah, I was a little crazy.
It's no catching on a kick return. So I wouldn't think so.
They're coming down. You know, like, people always ask me what was scarier, returning punts or returning kickoffs. And back then the rules were so different.
Yeah.
So I said, for me, returning kickoffs was
yeah.
scarier.
Yeah.
Because as a return man, you're told run towards the wedge, that the wall that's in front of you of blockers.
Mm-hmm.
And the other team knows that's where you're going. So they're just going to meet you there.
Yeah.
And if they happen to cut through the edges, it's a clean shot
problem.
and it's a kill shot. And I got hit like that a couple times. But for me, punts was easier, even though I couldn't see anything. There was a trust that I had in my teammates as I'm looking at that ball come down. And I also, for me anyway, I started to kind of develop a sense of how close the opponent was.
Yeah.
And I could kind of make a decision based on that. But
You're like a body fake almost or something like.
Yeah, it's like you just kind of have a reflex action, almost like Jedi senses and shit. You know?
It's like I'm a superpower on this football field.
Exactly. You know, and my buddies joke with me today. It's like, man, you're crazy. It's like, well, I didn't get that many opportunities to get on the field, so I wasn't fair catching.
Yeah. Not at all. I'm not calling this one. I'm running every time. Yeah. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. That first time you got lit up. That very, very, very first time you got lit up. Talk about it, because I know that's a life decision that has to be made at that moment.
Yeah, where I actually got my bell rung on a kickoff was in high school. And I can remember it was a short kick, and I'm running full speed to catch the ball. And I'm not thinking about anything else, and somebody missed a block. So it was basically two Rams going full speed at each other. And the kid was bigger than me. Obviously, I was big anyway. You know? And I was laying on the ground. I was like, oh, shit. You know, my teammates come and help me up, and I could barely get off the field.
Did you hold on to the ball?
No.
Okay.
The hit occurred. It might have actually occurred. Looking back, it might have been an illegal hit.
Okay.
Because I hadn't touched the ball yet. I was still reaching for the ball.
Gotcha.
As a contact. Yeah. So, and I've been on both ends of that.
Uh-huh.
So it was painful to say the least.
Almost had a which is better question, but you kind of want to guess giving is always better than receiving in that scenario.
God,
yeah.
God, yeah.
Whether you know it's coming or not, right? It's just,
God,
yeah.
You know.
Just knock me down into the dirt. I know you're coming for me.
And I got hit like that once in practice in college. And
Sounds personal.
I won't mention who hit me, but he had a very illustrious professional career. And it was practice. You know, it was just a practice period. And during special teams period, that was my work period because I was a return guy, you know. And it was kind of the period where the starters, offense and defense, could take time off and kind of relax a little bit. So this punt and cover team comes down, and coach says, make them work. He's telling me, make them work. It's like, okay. So they come down, they're trying to break down, and I find a hole, and I squeeze through, you know. So my boy says to me, he's like, come on, Giff, relax, man. We're trying to chill. I was like, man, I'd say F you. This is a mistake.
Say, I don't care.
Yeah, it's like, man, this is my work period. I said, just fucking work, you know.
Yeah.
And the next time his group was up, I'm looking up, and that sense just kicked in, right? And something just said sidestep. And I caught the ball and sidestepped, and I felt this like gale force wind blow by me. And I was like, what was that? You know? And I had heard what he said about chilling. So this time when they kind of got around me, I didn't try to fake anybody out. I just stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And as I stopped, I felt this pressure in my back. And it was the kind where like you get hit and your body just has its own mind, and
you're going through a whole little.
Bro, I felt my soul leave my body.
Yeah.
And as I opened my eyes, there was like grass just clumped in my face mask. And as I got up, I felt this additional pressure in my back, like somebody stepped on it. And I looked up, and it was my boy walking away. And he kind of turned and he looked back at me. And because I got up quick, I was pissed off.
Yeah.
And he kind of turned and squared up, and I was like,
so you said you wanted to work.
I was like, you got me, you know.
Said you wanted to work.
Yeah, and
we
laughed about it, you know. And then the next time his group came down, he was the first one down again. I'd stopped in front of him, you know. He patted me on the head, and I was like, we good, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, memories. I'm about to take you back down memory lane real quick when we go to these commercials, because I'm a take this headset off, and I'm going to line up with them, and I'm going to see what it's talking about, and we're going to see who's going to come back after this commercial break. One person that we know for sure is coming back after the commercial break is y'all. Y'all stay tuned.
A culmination of powerful properties that create balance and produce good energy. Cultivating a culture of mindfulness is a daily battle. We target your inner me. Physiological effects, change you can truly feel. Aesthetically pleasing on the surface, but handmade to help you heal.
Yes, sir. We are back. Gifford Irvine in the building, in the sanctuary, what we like to call it, you know what I'm saying? Vibes and the energy is always proper, is always well here. You still feeling good?
Oh, I feel great.
Still feeling good. Believe. Okay, so I see some other things underneath this believe. Oh, let me guess, is this a UCLA sweater?
Actually, it's not.
It's not?
It's not. This company popped up on one of my feeds, and there was one that said discipline, and then one that said believe, and then there was a bunch of others, but those were the two that jumped out at me.
Got you.
And I said, oh, gotta have them.
Yeah.
Gotta have them.
Obviously.
Because those are two staples in my life. You know, believing, one, and having the discipline to carry out, you know, that which I believe in.
Believe in that. Believe. It's such a strong, purposeful word. I have an individual. I have a friend, older friend that works at UCLA. I'm not. Are you good with faculty? Do you know all the faculty around? Or
I don't know
probably
faculty. I'm more in touch with specifically the football program.
got you.
You know, so when I'm on campus, it's there to watch practice and visit with the staff and tell them about kids that I'm coaching. It's a
nice field y'all got over there too.
Oh,
I actually made some money last season off of UCLA. Now that I think about it, small little tidbit. So I do a lot of things, and I have a wrestling podcast, and one of the companies that we partner with, ran a show at UCLA last year during the summertime, before one of the games. We were out in front of at the Rose Bowl. As soon as you come in through the parking. I don't know what section it is right there, but it's the big walking up point to where you're coming in.
The main entrance.
Yeah, the main entrance. We had the where the statue is, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where the ring was set up at, and we had a whole show. They have footage on it and everything on their Instagram and everything. But it was really, really, really cool. And I stayed for the actual football game because I do sports betting too. So while that was going on, I was like, "Who's playing today? Who they playing?" Let me put a little bit of money on this. So they comped us tickets and everything. So after the wrestling show, all the wrestlers and us, we went into the stands, watched a little bit of the show. They started to take off. I was like, I'm staying. I got money invested. And y'all actually won the game too. So it was a good day. It was a great day. Thank you, UCLA. Thank you.
Go Bruins, baby.
I believe. I will always bet on the Bruins. Athlete. One more thing I want to touch on before we move on. Why football? Out of all the sports,
It's kind of what was introduced to me.
okay.
You know, my dad, as I mentioned, played football, and all my brothers played football. So
Was not to cut you off? I'm sorry, but was it hard? Like, this is what the family does, so I have to do it, or is this just I want to do this too? That's really where I'm getting at.
it was more, this is what I want to do
Why?
because I want to be like my brothers.
Okay.
I want to be like my dad. You know, I had 4 of the best role models anyone could ever ask for growing up.
So you're the youngest.
I'm the youngest of 4.
Okay.
So my 3 older brothers and my dad, you know, so those were my male role models growing up, you know, and anything that my brothers did, I wanted to do. And I always used them as a barometer for where I was in terms of accomplishing and achieving my goals and stuff like that. And throughout my athletic career, my athletic endeavors, that was always like the bar, the standard that they had set that I aspired towards, and that kept me motivated. You know, in my opinion, the 2 toughest kids to be are the oldest and the youngest. The oldest has to be the trailblazer, and the youngest has to live up to all the expectations.
Yeah.
You know,
And everything in between. Oh, that was probably, in my opinion, that'd probably be toughest is to be the youngest.
yeah, you know, and also from a parental standpoint, it's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, all of our hopes are now in 4.
Yeah.
You know,
we tried it a couple of times.
Yeah.
This might be the one.
and it's not to say that my brothers weren't successful. My brothers have been very successful in their lives and what they do in their endeavors. But my parents had dreams about each of us and what they wanted for us, you know, as opposed to what we wanted for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, so there was a little jostling with that for me. I can't speak for my brothers.
So it wasn't they didn't see the same thing as what you wanted then.
When my focus started to change, they weren't really feeling it. You know, and that was specifically when I wanted to endeavor into entertainment. Folks weren't really feeling it.
Got you.
You know, for whatever reason. They saw me as a doctor or as an attorney, and I could have very well
Been any of that. Yeah.
yeah, and I had the grades, I had the mindset, the discipline, and all that. But after college, I was tired of school. I mean, I was
Beat.
yeah, I was done. It's like the last thing I want to do is open up a book.
Yeah.
You know, looking back, knowing what I know today, I might have done the law thing just so I have a knowledge of the law, specifically when it comes to contracts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, because that's important. And I'm still thinking about going back to law school for that specific reason.
Well, that's commendable. Way, 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 way back in the day, and very few people know this about me, but I had aspirations to be a lawyer. But then once I found out how much schooling it took and recognizing who I was, not saying I was bad in school, but how long you have to be in school, and I'm not going to do anything if I can't be the best at it, I was like, yeah, that's not a commitment. Maybe that's not my passion, because I don't want to make that long commitment for schooling for that, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
it takes some time. So if you do make that decision to go back, then hey, congratulations, definitely, for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, and the other thing, you know, flip side of that argument is, well, you can learn everything you need to learn on the internet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you ask it the way that you ask it in a particular way, you'll get the answer that you're looking for.
yeah, and especially in the world we live in now with the new technology, specifically AI, you know, they can basically tell you what you need to know.
Yeah. Still having a personal battle with this AI thing, but you know.
Oh, I knock on wood, I'm with you 1,000%.
I'm coming around.
And I have not even thought about venturing into anything.
Yeah, I haven't dabbled I've like other people around me dabble, so it's just like, okay, I'll see about it. But it's just I'm hard pressed because of the creative that I am, and the mindset that I'm developing is use it with your creatives.
Yeah.
Manipulate it. But it's just let me get past the everybody else is cheating with it first. Then like let me build my relationship. It'll come at some point. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, because that's where I am with it, and that was actually what the strike was about.
Yeah.
One of the main things.
Yeah.
You know, the strikes were about last year. You know, and I'm like, from a studio perspective, I can see where they would want to use AI.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay,
Money saves money.
Exactly.
Tons of money.
Exactly. You know, and
Tons of money, tons of time.
the flip side is you're eliminating a key component because that AI can't be there on set and interact with people. It's going to spit you what what they're programmed to spit, as opposed to an individual who's like, okay, yeah, in this area of the city, this is how they speak.
Yeah, but X, Y, and Z, et cetera, like the details, the real, and yeah, you could get it from that, but just a purposeful explanation goes a long way.
Exactly.
Goes a long way. Speaking of such, you know what I'm saying? Actor, writer, which of them came first?
From a passion standpoint, it was the acting. It was the acting. You know?
Just watching movies.
Watching movies, you know, growing up, I grew up in Baldwin Hills. I'm of mixed race. So a lot of times as a kid of mixed race, you don't necessarily understand who you are.
Yeah. What are we mixed with?
Oh, God.
What are the ingredients?
You name it, I got it.
A little bit of everything.
Like, it used to be like I'm 31 flavors, but then I figured out I got Far East blood in me, so it's like I'm Heinz 57. You know, I identify as African American.
Okay.
Always have, always will.
Okay.
My mother will tell you she's Mexican.
Okay.
I'm not Latin, I'm Mexican. And on her side of the family, I think there's French, German, some Indian blood, and Mexican blood, obviously. And then my dad's from Louisiana.
Okay.
So I've got all that good Creole Cajun blood in me. You know, and both my parents are olive complected. But again, I identify as African American. I grew up in Baldwin Hills. I went to St. Bernadette, which is in the Crenshaw district. So that's what I identified with growing up. But it was tough because I looked so different than my African American counterparts.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
especially in that neck of the woods, I can imagine the questioning. Like, you said you what?
Yeah, exactly.
How? Where? Still.
And I spoke very proper.
Oh, yeah. Nobody was believing you.
Bruh.
Struggle.
But it helped me, you know, because you know, one of the things that my dad focused on with us was making sure that we spoke properly. And he would correct us if we stepped off that track. You know, or correct me anyway. I don't know about my brothers. But he would always correct me about how I spoke and the words I would use and so on and so forth. And because I spoke properly and I was a smart kid, it created some tension with, my counterparts.
You had to start acting early.
Oh,
in
I
life.
was trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're black. What am I?
Yeah.
They're calling me this, they're calling me that. Da, da, da. So at times it was very challenging. But because I was a good-looking kid and I was smart, I was popular amongst the female students.
Yeah.
Which created problems with
Give me a little space and opportunity to figure it out. But now we got new problems.
Yeah, so a lot of times outside of my family, I would turn to films to find characters or heroes that I identified with.
Yeah.
And I can remember one of the first movies I saw with my parents was Gone with the Wind. And then later we went and saw MASH and Patton at a drive-in theater.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing The Dirty Dozen, and I remember seeing Jim Brown in The Dirty Dozen. And I was like, that's, and because I knew who Jim Brown was.
Yeah, from the football.
Yeah, but I didn't get a chance to see him play. Because by the time I was like old enough to kind of comprehend and understand,
he was done.
He was done. But I was like, that, that's him. And then as I got older, the first movie that really resonated with me that I really identified with was Rocky. And it was for no other reason that he was an underdog.
Yeah.
And I think that resonated obviously with the world.
Yeah.
Because everyone can appreciate being in that position. And I had lived it. I felt like an underdog my whole life. I felt like someone that was looked past. And I can remember about 2 years ago, I came across one of those GIFs or whatever, the memes or whatever they're called. And it said, doubt me. That'll be good.
Oh, that'll be entertaining.
Yeah, go ahead and doubt me. Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I had realized when I read that, it resonated with me, but it's like, that's how I've lived my life. Proving people wrong. And I fucking love that.
Yeah. It's a thrill.
Oh, dude, there's nothing better. And I'll use my UCLA experience as an example. I had a lot of people that I considered friends. Don't waste your time walking on. You're just going to be a tackling dummy. And those same people, when I actually started playing 2 years later, were up, man, I saw you on TV. Da, da, da. And it's like,
yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, the tackling dummy.
Yeah, right.
Was all on TV.
Exactly.
Getting tackled like a dummy, huh? Yeah.
So, back to the Rocky thing, that was probably the first time that I felt like, okay, this is very inspiring. I can relate to this character. Again, from an underdog standpoint, I have no idea what it's like to grow up in Philadelphia, be Italian in Philadelphia, and what goes on back there. And I have friends that went through that experience on both sides of the coin, people of color, people that are not of color, and it's a different world, and I think on the West Coast, I think there's much more acceptance of people interacting with each other across racial lines, if you will.
The indifference, because we're just such a melting pot.
Exactly. And I think in different parts of the country, specifically the coast, because the Midwest is a different animal. Or Middle America, I should say, it's a different animal. But, along the coastline, there are those regions, and there's pockets where you can't, cross over. It still exists to this day. And I think, as we evolve as a society, as we evolve as a country, those things are being brought more and more to the forefront. And I like to be in a position where I challenge people's beliefs.
Yeah.
Because, in my opinion, and I said something about this earlier, just because you believe something doesn't mean it's the truth.
Yeah.
It may be your
truth. Yeah, for the moment.
Exactly. But it's not like
the universal
truth. And people always kind of look at me and it's like, okay, let's do a test just to prove my point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's not going to do anything just to prove my point. It's like, okay, what? Let's do it. I said, okay, on the count of 3, we're going to both look at this wall
Mm-hmm.
and just hold one image, and then we'll come back and say what we saw. So 1, 2, 3, bam, we turn and look, and we come back. Okay, what'd you see? Ba-da-da-da. I saw this. So just because I saw something different than you did, does it mean I'm wrong?
No.
Exactly. And then to further the explanation, it's like we have a mega computer inside our skull.
Oh yeah, that we ain't even tapped in with it.
Exactly.
The way that we can.
Exactly.
The possibilities.
And it takes everything that has influenced us in our lives, everything we've learned, everything we know, everything that has been a part of us, and in that moment, it makes a decision for us and what we chose to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my friends, and it's been a great tool to use the last 7 years because of the political climate that we live in right now.
Yeah.
We live in a country where it's like, okay, let's find common ground. It's like, no, you're wrong because you don't think like I do. You don't see the world the way I see it.
We'll never get anywhere operating like that.
Exactly. And I think that is self-evident in what's happening in our country specifically right now.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Politics. There ain't no politics in truth. You know that. But I tell you what y'all don't know, what you do know now is that we going to be right back after these commercials. You know what I'm saying? Gifford, Sir Mac, be back.
Appreciate you.
You are now rocking with the Patio
I was
PolitiCz.
like, is he going to do it if I had it on me? Just to sound like a bunch of marbles and whatever. Acting came first. Writing came therefore after. Speak about the writing for a little bit. What made you get into that?
One of my boys that I've known since childhood, we grew up together, but we always competed against each other. And then once he ended up at SC, by the way.
Okay, well.
So, there was even more shit talking between us and still to this day, and I love him to death. And he probably gave me the best piece of professional advice anyone's ever given me. And he said, no one's ever going to cast you as a brother. And I said, okay, that's real.
Yeah.
Because at the time when I first got into acting, they wanted you to look Mexican, they wanted you to look black, they wanted you to look white. There was no crossover.
Yeah, no in-betweens.
And I fell in the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd go in auditions, and casting people would say, well, what's your background? What's your ethnicity? You have a very unique look. And at a point, I just said, am I wasting my time? Do I have any talent? Or should I be doing some other shit?
Yeah.
And the casting director laughed and said, no, you got talent. I just don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
So this was like in the 90s.
Okay.
That's how far back we're going here. And as the industry changed and evolved, so did that mindset.
The perception, yeah.
And now it's like, you look at people like The Rock, you look at people like Freddie Prinze Jr., who if he listens to this, Freddie, please come back, act, because the brother's talented, but again, he's one of those crossover guys, The Rock, DJ. That's the first name that always comes to mind when I think about that. Vin Diesel, another mixed ethnic person, But my boy said to me, he said, you need to write your own shit.
Yeah.
And go back to college for a second. One of my coaches had looked at a paper that I had written that just fell out of my bag. And he said, hey, how'd you get an A? And I was like, Coach, I can write.
So, excuse me?
Yeah. And he's like, okay, I used to teach English. I'm going to take this home and read it. So the coach came back the next day and he said, wow, this is really good. And he said, you don't write the way people are supposed to speak. You write the way people actually speak. So I could understand what you wanted me to get out of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. So that seed had been planted. And even before that, when I was in grammar school, I wrote like this 3-page paper about me playing Pop Warner football. Okay? True story. And my mom at the time worked at 20th Century Fox, and she was a switchboard operator. She asked me, she said, "Do you mind if I take this and show it to somebody at work?" I was like, "I don't care, Mom. Shit,
Yeah.
Looking back, it's like, make sure they pay us.
Yeah. Sure, Mom. Invite them over to dinner. Let's really figure out who this is.
Exactly. So she takes it to Fox, right? And she asks the executives if they'd take 5 minutes to read it. Again, it's 3 pages long. It's not like a
long drawn out.
Exactly. And the executive read it, came back to my mom that afternoon and said, "Encourage your son to write. He's got an incredible imagination." And writing's just been something that it's been a natural gift for me. And it's just something that I can do. And back to my boy that talked to me about it, the writer-producer, the ideas and stories are there. Now it's figuring out how to put them into the format necessary for the industry.
Yeah.
And that was where the challenge was for me, is understanding the format. So, I started off with a process that works for me. And when I write, I break out my legal pads and I write my story out. Joe went to the store. Joe was going to buy bread. Joe saw a car pull up, in front of the store, slamming on its brakes.
Getting a structure.
3 guys got out. Just tell the story. And then I can go back and take the story and put together an outline of how I want it to look.
Like, how do we get here from point A to point B?
Exactly. And then I'll start to break it down. Interior store day. Joe's going to buy groceries. Exterior store day. Car comes speeding down the street. And then the final stage of my process is to go back and add the dialogue. And by the time I get to that point, it's writing itself because I know the story so well. So I've written probably 15 scripts.
Okay.
And have 2 right now that I'm actually peddling. 3 actually, because I wrote one with a buddy of mine who reached out. And I have interest in my main script, which is a passion project. And I have a pretty big producer who's interested in working on it with me. And he's given me some notes on it and stuff like that. Now it's finding the investors, to bring them to the table. And so goes the story. Is it better to get the investors or is it better to get the talent? And how that works. And there's that interplay and, dynamic that goes on there.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, because if you can get the talent or you have direct access to the talent, get the talent. Because if you get the talent, the money will come.
It will come, yeah.
As opposed to trying to finagle the money.
And then figuring out what to, it's kind of backwards.
Because I've been down that road, and I can remember this was about 15 years ago. And I was working with somebody on a project. Actually, it was multiple projects because this group of investors wanted to invest in multiple projects. So I think it was like either 5 or 7 projects that they were talking about doing. Small budgets, and they said, okay, go get this, 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 and this. I think it was a completion bond, insurance bond, and something else.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And I got everything together in 3 days. And we went back to the investors. It's like, okay, we're ready to go. And they were like, whoa, how did you do this
so quick? Yeah.
It's like, I got contacts. My connections will take care of me.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not asking them, to go out of their way.
Yeah.
And in this process, it was just a matter of, hey, listen, I'm sending a buddy of mine over. Take care of him. This is what he needs.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to that law office in Century City and up in the towers, the paperwork had been done. And the actual attorney came out and greeted us, said, here, if you need anything else, please call me.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with the completion bond. I can't remember which one went first, but it's like everything's boom, boom, boom.
What gives you the most joy and pleasure, being an actor, a writer, or an athlete? Or shall I say, what has given you the most joy?
That's tough. That's tough. I mean, I got to play on New Year's Day. I got to run out in front of 100,000 screaming people. And that's a rush. I don't know that I'll ever be able to match.
Replicate or...
Yeah, the flip side is I can remember being on stage about a year ago and doing a play where I played this not too pleasant individual. And it was part of an ensemble cast, obviously, but we got a standing ovation one night. And it was the same kind of rush, you know. Writing, I think, is an individual thing. So you're not necessarily going to get that rush from writing.
Until you share.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the rush that I got from writing was people saying, this is really good. You know, you've got talent. You can do this. And that's motivation to get back at it, you know. So that they're kind of all equal. You know, I can't honestly say one is more than the other.
Or it gives you more, it gives you less.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. One thing that kind of trumps all of them was being in love. Being in real love.
Real love.
Real love.
Real love. Man, yeah, that is something special.
Yeah.
Special. I myself, I'm maybe about 2.5 years removed from something special. And it's been a while. Getting in touch with those feelings again feels good.
It's nice, and at the same time, for me personally, I'm very guarded.
Yeah, very, very obviously.
Because I've opened up.
Yeah.
And I've said, here I am.
It's like a little reverse thing. Trust me, I feel you.
Yeah.
It started wide open. Now we just like.
And you feel that blade just going through it, cutting everything up. It's like, oh wow. Yeah, you know. But I'm at a place now where I'd like to bring somebody back into my life. You know, bring somebody into my life, and you know,
talk to her.
Build an empire and take over the world.
Talk to her.
Epic shit.
Say, baby. We well, individually, separately, together, we are looking for you.
Let's build an empire. Let's take over the world and maybe have a family together. You know, epic shit.
Epic shit. Yes. Some more epic shit, man. You got a bunch of people out there in the visual and audio land that are aspiring to be actors, writers, athletes, and everything of that nature. Are there any words or tidbits that you could give them in this very moment that will help them along their journey and their path?
Believe in yourself more than anything else. Because if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. Let no one tell you who or what you can become or what you can aspire to be, because your dreams are yours. And if you have a dream, you have the power to make it come true.
Message!
Believe in yourself, because that's the place to start. And I say, hey, tell everybody where they can find you at on social media.
Gifford Irvine. Gifford Irvine will get you my Instagram. Gifford Irvine will get you my Twitter account. Or it's called X now, right?
X, yeah. I get mixed up with it too.
X.
Got me back in my X's box, sending messages and stuff. It gets crazy.
I don't want Elon coming after me, you know, even though he's got enough money. On Facebook as well, Gifford Irvine, you know, and I'm on TikTok for the content. I don't post on TikTok, but some of the stuff on there is very entertaining. You know,
some of the stuff.
Some of it. Some is like, why are people? These are people that live in our world, really.
Yeah, that's usually one of those like scroll. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm off of it.
Exactly.
Great things coming from you. Obviously, some things that we've worked on together as well. Too. Everybody, make sure you peep out the council too. It's coming. It's coming. If it's not here already, you know what I'm saying. My guy did such wonderful work. It's always a joy. Always a joy. Gift. You already know what it is, my guy.
Appreciate you. All
love.
Thank you for having me.
All the time. The Patio PolitiCz, you know how it goes down here every Tuesday, 6 o'clock, every Thursday. Well, not every Thursday, every last Thursday of the month. Talking Dirty, another episode where we get a little get into it a little bit. But you know how it goes down on the patio. Shout outs to all of the sponsors. Make sure you tapping in. Make sure you liking, you commenting, you hitting the subscribe, the follow button, all that. Continue the conversation in the comments section. You know how it goes down on the patio politics. Did you enjoy yourself, Giff?
Had a great time.
I had a great time as well. I had a great time. He had a great time. You had a great time. Guess what we gonna do? Have that same kind of time next time on the Patio Politics.
We don't do trends, we trendsetters.